religion can be a great thing, because it's my belief now that God is nothing else but just love, complete and utter love. And there's no such thing, like there's no God going to send anybody to a place where it's fire. Reasons being, because God knows everything, okay? And God completely understands why a human being behaves in some way because of their upbringing, something that may have happened to them, changed them along the way. How do you judge somebody if
I
they
think
don't
that's
even
a big
know?
problem about
How
judging.
do you judge somebody on an action where they're only acting on stuff that they were taught growing up?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I've often thought about it in that respect, that if God knows everything, God is certainly not going to send that soul anywhere to make it worse again, because they never knew any better in the first place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you sound like a theologian. You sound you know more about this. You've got more questions on this than me. I always just kind of stand back and I'm just like, you know what, these are the kind of issues that are going on. But again, I think that is really important to do, and a lot of people are afraid to have these conversations now because you know, there used to be a time when I used to love flying, and I would, you know, you always end up having a wee conversation with the person sitting next to you. I used to always not want to say I teach religion, because the conversation could go in any direction. And when you say you
people
teach
can
Islam,
get fanatical about it.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of this, I also think that we also have to appreciate that people who have no faith, people who don't believe in an organised religion, or people who don't believe in God, they, you know, I can't even believe I'm having to say this, they live full, ethical, good lives. And the thing is that what we've done is we kind of sometimes say, oh, but you know, if you don't have Christianity, if you don't have Islam, then surely you can't really be. And I don't believe in that, because I really think, and I really believe this, and a lot of my own Muslim friends would probably disagree, I don't think that any faith has a monopoly on truth. I really think that your truth can be very, very different. All I wish to see is that we can arrive at something that's some measure of ethical, or some measure of, you know, please don't kill me. Right? And I know that sounds quite simplistic, but we haven't. For how long have we been civilized as human beings? Yet we still kill each other. And it's not just the physical, it's the mental abuse that religion can be weaponized.
It can be,
and it can cripple people. This is why I wanted to find out, what is it? Is there only one way to be a Muslim man? Because all I kept hearing was, you have to be married and you have to have kids and you have to, you know, live up to this. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is such a huge burden, mental burden on so many Muslims around the world. And when I was studying this, I just, you know, and I thought, but there's also God in this. There's also your culture in this. And I'm thinking about my parents who came from Pakistan. And it just made me kind of realise that, you know, there's so much going on in how we kind of understand that. But, you know, one of the things I kind of researched and found out is that the Quran, right? The Quran is what Muslims believe in. It's a book. It's a divine text that has all sorts of men in it. It has prophets in it, like Jesus. Muslims believe he's a prophet, who didn't even have a dad. We don't even know whether Jesus got married and had 2.4 children, which we keep hearing about.
And a dog called Spot.
Exactly. You know, we hear about the prophet, Joseph. You know, Joseph. You all know Joseph and his amazing who falls in love with his stepmom. The Islamic sources are very, very explicit that he's about to have, you know, intercourse with her when he actually gets a revelation from God saying you can't have sex with her because she's your stepmom. I mean, there's ethical issues going on over there. It talks about love, it talks about sex. Then you have the Prophet Muhammad, who is the last prophet in Islam. He gets married, he has kids, his wife dies, and then he has 11, 12, 13 wives. I mean, you really have to think carefully about how on earth are you still being presented with this one way of being Muslim and male. But what holds it all together is this belief in God. Because the relationship that an individual has, whether they're male, female, or transgender, or whatever way they identify, that relationship that they have with God cannot be replicated between anybody else. My relationship with God cannot be, I can't, it's not duplicated in any other person. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Which means that the Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet Joseph, Adam, all of these prophets had their own singular relationship. And there's something to be learnt that I believe at the very core of Islam, and I think by extension Judaism and Christianity, is the internal diversity. We are all very different, and we all have different paths to God.
And
makes a lot of sense.
the Quran and the Bible, like, and other religious texts, they've been written at a specific time in history by individuals, mainly men.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Bible, because I'd be more familiar with that, obviously, there's so much wisdom in that book that can give us a guide of how to what is a good life, what is the good man, ethics, morality. All these things are like these guide us along the way. There's a lot of stuff in it that's not helpful to you, but you take from it the good stuff, and you have to park all that stuff. But you think that it's a problem when people get into the minutiae as justification for some negativity.
You can justify anything. My co-religionists justify killing innocent people in the name of God. And that's not something particular to Muslims. You have the Crusades in Christianity. You have all sorts of wars that are done in the name of God.
But the Serbs,
absolutely. But what I really believe is, you always need a counter narrative where you have somebody who is, for me, and I'm speaking personally, this scary form of masculinity in the form of Osama bin Laden. And everybody knows, when I say Osama bin Laden, that image comes in your brain, right?
Yeah.
Turban, beard, oh gosh, what did he do? I always say, I must counter that. And I counter it with, I don't know, many of your listeners, maybe you have, if you've ever been to Turkey.
Yeah,
right?
I have been, yeah.
You've been to Turkey, and you'll be aware of the mystics who they wear long flowing dresses, and the guys and the women and whatever way they identify themselves, they just whirl all day long to music, and they're going round in a circle dancing in a trance because they are remembering the unity of God, and that they're remembering God. And I think, how many times have we been presented with that form of Islam, that form of gendered Islam? But all we see, you Google, you Google image, right? Muslim man or Muslim woman. Gosh, you just see it. You just see what comes up.
It won't take too long.
No,
for him to pop up.
We've been conditioned. We're such a visual entity now. We've got our Instagram and we've got our Snapchat, and you don't even need to say anything now. You just put a picture in front of people and you're just like, this is it. This is a Muslim man now.
Yeah.
And the power of that, it's actually part of my job of getting students to unread a picture and getting them to read something more than just seeing a picture is a big thing. And it's the
same.
Yeah.
If you say the north side or whatever, it's
Yeah.
the same kind of analogy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if you look if
you look at an area.
Yeah, like this here, right? That's the reservoir in Knocknaheeny. It's a big water tower on the top of the hill, close to Apple Computers European headquarters.
Okay.
It's the emblem of our area.
Right.
But it can sometimes be an emblem of Knocknaheeny, which brings a lot of negative connotations.
Right.
So we wanted to use that as like, no, this is something that we should be proud of.
Yeah.
And there's not all negativity, and there's a lot of positive stuff comes from this area too.
Yeah.
So like,
and I totally resonate with that, because when I tell people that I'm from Toonhead, they're like, you're from Townhead? I'm just like, yeah, and I'm actually very proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of being from Townhead, and because that's where I got high-rise flats, mothers and sons and daughters, swearing this and swearing that, and I'm just like, that was home. That was where I grew up.